6 knots, both sails up, with a guy sailing her who's got more fishing experience than he can shake a stick at, but he's just a natural born sailor. He gets it from his grandpa, I'm sure. Anyway, he's beaten us. He's come from behind. So Terry with YellowBird sailed to Utopia, and we're taking her out to clean the bottom. We listed her with Pop Yacht yesterday. If you get in touch with me first, here or on personal messenger, Terry Hazel, we can make a deal. But she's an awesome Sparkman Stephens classic design built by ChrisCraft in 1964. She has a Mercedes 220D engine that's been marinized, 55 horses on a 35-foot boat. She is amazing in her speed, not only under power but under sailing. So we're gonna go clean the bottom and wait for you to come take a look. She is registered with the state of Florida. I have the clean title in my hand. She is a Sparkman Stephens design built by ChrisCraft. 1964, hull number 78 of 80 of this boat built. Modernized, refitted, and made more comfortable to enjoy great sail. This covers the manual windless, which in itself is a treasure. It's heavy bronze. It has some antique status, and somewhere there's a plate on it that says what year and model it is. And we have the original bronze handle. She has a Rocna anchor, a Bruce anchor, all 3/8 chain. There is a solar air vent that works great, keeping that anchor locker dry down there. All of her tow rails are teak, but the wood was so old when we restored her, we painted her this lovely chocolate brown to look like teak. She has stainless steel hose pipes to keep your lines from chafing. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. This little odd-shaped bow, some of you may recognize if you're windsurfers, a sailing dinghy with a windsurfer bow as a boom and a windsurfer sail with a visual panel, and she works great. We have kiwi grip non-skid, offsetting the smooth areas, a forward port light that's been plexied and sealed and doesn't leak at all, totally dry. There's a card in there, and our cabin main hatch also has a little port light. It can either be all the way open, or I have a block, or I have a stick to hold it up higher. Our sails are all from 2011-12. She has a lovely big mainsail, lazy jacks. The roller furling Jenny, sacrificial, is in great shape. All the running ringing is in good shape. And a storm sail. She has wind scoops. They're not dorades, they're scoops, and they have a bronze liner in them. So if you're someplace at a dock that's in an older place or in the islands where there might be rats, these bronze screens will not let a rat in. See that bronze screen with the hardware cloth doesn't let anything in. And these are old chrome-plated bronze in beautiful patina. Old chrome-plated, she's an antique. Her antique vessel sticker is here, and she's fully registered in Florida until January of 2023. There are vents for the engine room. That D-ring is for the riding sail. We're going to leave you our little magma propane grill. The lazarette that I mentioned earlier has a solar vent and fan on it to keep things dry in there. It's hinged. Inside here is the engine exhaust, the hardware, the rudder and tiller for the sailing tender, a fish cleaning table, a little portable umbrella, and odds and ends of cushions and buckets, and the oars for the tender. The cleats have all been backed up with sturdy pads. The dinghy davits are the anodized aluminum. They were sandblasted, and they were rebedded and rebacked up with strong pads. The aft stay has been fixed to have a, I guess they call it a resistor for the single sideband. And there's no sideband radio with this, but you could add one. This is the old boom crutch setup that ChrisCraft and Sparkman Stephens designed. If you're just at rest, you can put the boom down on the crutch. We have it up on the topping lift. And there's a wind vane up there. There are deck lights on the spreaders, a lazy jack system, sail cover. The canvas was extended to go back. All the canvas is a little old. It takes a little bit of wear and tear. One thing I would do is replace the canvas everywhere. You know, there's a few little holes. The little eyelids I was telling you about are here. They've all been painted with 2-part epoxy. This has a little gutter because the rain would run down here and go hard in, so this catches it and shoots it off the back. Those of you not familiar with ChrisCraft may say, what the heck is that? A wooden windshield. That is classic ChrisCraft design and something the ChrisCraft brothers decided to add to this boat. We have a bimini. We have side curtains for foul weather, but we're in Puerto Rico now and the weather is amazing. The trim on the side used to be a 1-inch aluminum, and now it's a custom mahogany strip that goes forward and aft. We have a bronze rub rail on the side so that when the lines that unfortunately make those little divots run over it, it protects the teeth. So we've added an additional solar panel. The original one was 144 watts. It's good to run the Ingle. We had our son and a friend living here, and they needed more power. So we added another 100-watt solar panel. We upgraded the charge controller to handle the extra power, and now everything stays banked up all the time. It tells us our batteries are full. There's an engine access panel there. All the hardware that we could maintain as the old chrome-plated bronze, we did. I love the green patina of the old parts. The stanchions are all still all the original. This boat's been well taken care of. You can see this cockpit is huge. Don't reference Jay in that. He's huge. We added CPT autopilot, which we have on all 3 of our boats. Chart plotter, a 545S, with all the maps of the Bahamas and the United States embedded. The original Constellation compass still works awesome, and it's a beautiful compass. I have all the Constellation paperwork about how to tune it, if it should get out of center, and the key for the original setup. We added this little hand grip so nobody would grab the compass, and a couple of handy drink holders.
Cheers.
The aft cabin has a double bed, and over here we have our surfboards in storage, and there's a single berth underneath it. We added these 2 little round port lights from a salvage, and they let a lot of extra air come into this boat. We also have 2 Camfro fans, one pointed for either bed, and they are 2-speed, 12-volt, low draw, and there are LED lights on either side as well. For visibility, we added a clear plexi panel in the hatch cover that closes, and another clear panel in the door. So if it's bad weather, you can shut it up, they can see in, you can see out. Access to the main cabin is just 3 steps, and you're down onto the teak and holly floor. This is 1/4-inch teak. Between the teak and holly panels, the white material is this gray Martex. There's a whale foot pump to conserve your water, and a power pump with a faucet. The galley is small, but it's everything that you need. There are 2 burners on this Origo alcohol stove that work great. Cutting board. There's storage here for your dishes and glassware. And the refrigerator. The refrigerator is covered with a African cherry. The hardware hooks onto a little latch. There's the little latch. Handle hooks on there and it's secure. The top is insulated. You can see how thick the foam is. This is a really solid little ice chest. Pretty deep. And this is the Engel L-shaped cold plate. It's got ice on it. We don't have much in here right now because we're not living on this boat, but it is freezing cold. The more you put in it, the more efficient it is. There is a single drain with a loop down in the bottom. So if you find you need to rinse it out or wash it, you can just hose it out and there you go. There are 110 outlets for when you're on shore power. When you're not on shore power, there is 12-volt plugs here, forward, and in the aft cabin. There are 12-volt fuses and plugs, and everything is labeled correctly. On, off, simple, old-style switches. There's a backup bilge pump there, and there's also a manual and an auto setting for each one. The official warnings for the Coast Guard. This is just a little credenza. There's lots of storage in here. Just little drawers, 2 drawers, and a cabinet with the locking push button shelves for all your other needs. The bathroom is simple. There's a airhead composting toilet and a single handle shower flush. We opted for a smaller shower head because you just want to soap and rinse. You don't want to waste your water. All of the cabinets in the bathroom are pegboard that are epoxy coated for air ventilation, and there's lots of room. We have a lot of cleaning products in here and toilet paper, and then whatever else. We put some little hooks for garbage bags, toilet paper holder, and a shower curtain. So you can, instead of having a hard door here that gets in people's way, if you want to shower or want privacy, you just have to close the curtain. From the outside, you have all the privacy you need in that bathroom. 12-volt fan and an LED light, and that's the inside of one of the air scoops. Another air scoop, and for the galley, another 12-volt fan and light. I'll take this opportunity to show you our Wiley port windows. If you can see, we have these little wood wedges, a forward and aft marked wedge, and a single glass panel that can go all the way up, or come all the way down, or come all the way out, and you have straight screen. And there's a drain hole in the corner for any dirt or debris. Voila. When you close the window altogether, the wedges fit in on the outside of the glass, and it's sort of like a little mailbox design. Maybe easier to see from there. So every one of the port lights is a little bit different size, and all the glass and wedges were custom cut to fit. So there are 4 Wiley ports in the forward cabin and 2 in the aft cabin. So this is our storage space. Teak paneling, the anchor locker with her official number embossed. There's our chain locker, keeping it ventilated. The blue bag is the storm head sail that's roller furling, and that yellow fabric is a boom tent that goes from the bow over the aft cabin to keep you shaded if you're going to be at anchor for any length of time. Forward, we have 2 of these little closets with this nice little lock. Teak paneled, hanging bar. It's like a wet locker. There are 12-volt lights and LED fans on either side, and that's a CO2 smoke detector. Rod rack that will hold 4 rods. Hand grips all over, so you have it. This is the compression post for the mast. She is a deck step mast, and the compression post goes to the keel and up to the cabin top, and she's totally solid. Another 12-volt LED light. Another hanging closet. All the closets have these little air vent holes in them. Little compression button fittings, and more hanging space and storage. These lockers have finger grips to open, and they are deep and long. it all the way through. I stored enough food to go to the Bahamas for 4 months in this boat. Each side also has a lower locker with the same finger grips, and then some supplies in here, fire extinguishers, extra propane, flares. Settees have an extra storage bin under them. So these little panels were made specifically to fit. There's tons of room up there. This panel on both sides has a drawer as well. So you can access it by lifting the panel or by lifting the drawer. In the center, there's another large storage area with a plate so that you can keep any anchor water drainage from touching your goods. I usually put stuff in here in a plastic tub. We have a little inverter that you can use if you need a plug in. I'm charging my GoPro batteries to take a, and it just plugs into the little 12-volt charger. There's a Weems and Plath thermometer and a Weems and Plath clock. And this is the view from that little forward port light. It's a little glary out there, but you can see what's going on deck if you're down below. All of the openings have a screen. If you can see the screen there. The forward one has a little swing latch, and it just drops down on the hinge. This is the stick I told you about holding the hatch up higher. And that gave us a nice base to add this table. So you simply pull the pin out. This is kind of awkward one-handed. Line it up. Put the pin back in. And then we have a hook. The hook and a line, and there you have your dining room table. When you want to eat, it's plenty of room for 2 or 3 people to sit things here, and when you don't want it, you just simply take the string down, pull the pin, and store the table wherever is most convenient. I tend to keep it here at the head because that's a flat surface and it fits there perfectly. Stored back right here in the front. You can cover it with decorative pillows or whatever you like. A bar to hold on to as you go down. And both the forward and aft cabins have custom screens made of that folds down to close and lock securely. The cockpit has heat vents, upper and lower. The cockpit lockers on either side have lots of room. You could actually climb in there and lay down when there's not stuff. If you're on shore power, there's an electric hot water heater that works. There's a riding sail. And the sail for the sailing tender is in there also. The other cockpit locker has various and sundry things that you'll need to use, but again, it's huge. There's a manual bilge pump, just in case your electric ones fail. That's built in and plumbed into the engine room. There's your throttle controls. Teak grating on here. I found it humorous that this side has a square cut out, and this side has an oval cut out. The engine room itself has 3 house batteries and a starting battery. It has all the controls labeled and diagrammed and everything you need. Scuppers on either side and forward run out to hoses on opposite sides so that it will drain. So a couple of things I missed in shooting the video. One is the gauges, and all of the gauges are brand new from when we replaced the engine, and everything works perfectly. Oil pressure, temperature, tachometer. The boat in the last year in prep for coming to Florida has had the injector pump rebuilt. The injectors all rebuilt. She has a new water pump for recirculating. She has the Marinized Mercedes has a freshwater cooled heat exchanger. So salt water cools the fresh water but doesn't touch the inside of the engine. She has a new starter and a new alternator. Belts are adjusted and new. Everything is tweaked. Everything is great. She's had regular oil changes, and we've had no issues with that. The floor grates lift up to clean underneath. They've been oiled recently, and I guess that's just about all I can think of. If you have questions, please get in touch with me. I will put links to everything in the description and a full description of all of her ground tackle, rigging, and everything that you need to know, where the sails were made, all that kind of stuff. So, and like I said earlier in the thing, the only thing I would really consider, and everyone has an idea about what they want a boat to be and not to be, but you could take off with her just like she is, but I would do a new sail cover and bimini top, just because of the age of them. They're not totally dry. The sail cover has a couple holes in it. Things happen over the years, and otherwise, she's good to go. The water tanks are heavy poly from the early 60s. They were not replaced. They were cleaned thoroughly with muriatic acid and replumbed. So there's two 30-gallon cylindrical water tanks on either side, and then outboard of those are two 60-gallon new stainless steel. They were custom built to the same specs as the old galvanized tanks that were there. So they are new stainless steel tanks from 2010. So they have very little residual. There is a big Raycor fuel filter. Everything's been tweaked and done. You could paint the upper deck again if you wanted to. You could buff and paint the rest of it. She is probably due for a bottom job, because it'll be 2 years. December is 2 years since we left Clearwater. So she's due for a bottom job. And, but we scraped her, put a new zinc on, and she did great. So the bottom still looks okay. It was a barrier coated with the epoxy barrier coat in 2016. So that's all holding up really well and good. And let's see. Don't know what else to tell you. She's an awesome boat. I wish I could keep all three of our boats. We just don't have time or energy to do all the maintenance and do all the stuff. So, if you don't use it, you lose it, and we would love for her to have a good family, somebody who's a cruiser and wants to go see the world. These little ChrisCraft Sail Yachts, I have a friend who has one in Alaska. I have a friend who has one in Australia. There are probably half a dozen or more around between the Great Lakes and Florida. Every now and then they pop up, or someone pops up and says, whoa! Keep in mind, only 80 of this model were made. Only 80. And she's number 78. I actually met the guy who had 2000 and the 09 one, the number 9. And he let it get in such bad shape that he just gave it to someone. But of course, there's no such thing as a free boat. We're in Puerto Rico. If you want her back to the United States, we are happy to sail her back with you and teach you what we need to know. We are delivery captains, so of course there would be an additional fee. And if there's anything else I can tell you or you have questions about, hit me up, and I have a special offer. Let me know. And like Jay said, cheers.